Julian, Harriskina. Breaking news: Pete Alonso re-signs with the New York Mets. 2 years, $54 million. Definitely a huge win for the Mets here. Alonso tried to wait this thing out for months and months and months. He wanted to go up from the 3 for 70, but he ends up going backwards. But he gets the early opt out after a year, and he gets $30 million next year, which is what sold him on this, because he's going to try to opt out again, most likely, with the club option being for $24 million. Now, this is the right move for the Mets. They were definitely a hitter short still. He was the best hitter left for him to bring in. I think he's a better fit than Bregman because he's familiar with the situation. He has more power than Bregman. And Bregman might also be declining as well. And then you'd have to change Vientos' position to first base. So it just makes more sense for Alonso to return. And that's what the Mets finally did here. How does this help them stack up against the East with Philly and Atlanta? That's going to be the big question. Of course, the Dodgers are looming large here, and they beat the Mets last year in NLCS. Do the Mets still need to add some pitching? Probably. But their lineup is very much complete now, with Jesse Winker returning as well, and that's Alonso's bomb the rookie year, passing Aaron Judge. And last season he had a down year. That's why he put himself in this position. Just 34 bombs last year, a career low besides the shortened season, and the OPS was under 800 for the first time, which is alarming for a guy going into his free agency year. Was he putting too much pressure on himself? Will he bounce back a little bit more this year, especially with Soto in the mix? It's possible, and I'm going to assume he's going to bat behind Soto 3 or 4, and that's going to be a good spot for him to hit. Going to help Soto out and everything else with the top of that lineup with Vientos and Lindor. But Alonso, to his credit, he did show up in the postseason. This home run against Devin Williams was big time. He had 4 home runs in the playoffs. He did damage against Philly. He did decent against the Dodgers. And he's going to hope to carry that into the year. I always felt that he was going to sign before spring training because I feel like he didn't want to not know where he was going when pitchers and catchers started reporting. He's comfortable with the Mets. Was there more money on the table from Toronto or maybe the Angels? It seems that was the case. But he wanted to go back to the Mets and bet on himself for basically a year. And now we're going to see if that's going to pay off. And the Mets offered him 7 years for $158, and he turned it down. He fired his agent, he hired Scott Boras, and that's how we got into this situation. So he overvalued himself. He misread the market. They were asking for too much. But in the end, the polar bear is out of hibernation, and he has returned to Queens.